This is John Zaninovich. Welcome to Move My Mass. You'll be hearing from great guests talk about balancing life and being fit. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
Glad to have you on Move My Mass.
Excellent. Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah, I saw, again, more and more of my guests is just somebody I see on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, the guy's local. I got to have him on.
Yep.
And I didn't know where you worked for a while when I first saw you on social media.
Yeah.
In fact, it took me a little while to know if you were local.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, I think he's local. I think I recognize that gym,
Yeah.
Which you're at In Shape.
Correct. Yep.
But it took me until I saw the new, which we're going to get into, the new program that you've helped develop,
Yep.
Vital Training.
Vital Training. Yeah. VTL. Yeah.
Yeah. And once I saw that, I'm like, okay. Now I know for sure he's at In Shape.
Yeah.
I was scrolling and I think I saw, In Shape maybe at your location. But I'm like, wow, okay, he's In Shape, but maybe he's not local.
Yeah.
So yeah, but good to have you, man.
Thank you. Good to be here. And it's funny when I saw Move My Mass, I was like, wow, that is a great title. I was like, man, I wish I'd thought of that. It was great.
Yeah. Gotta thank my girlfriend Tammy for coming up with that one.
Hey, fair
she
enough.
did it.
Yep.
She did it.
That's great.
But so tell me about this program you've developed, Vital Training.
Yeah, so VTL, it's and we just took the I and the A out, to be honest with you. So it's Vital Training. But VTL has two different formats. It's got a boxing format and a rowing format. And the way that we designed this, my partner Andy and I, we really had kind of like somebody like yourself or myself in mind. Like I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yeah.
And so, but I still want to be active, but I can't do some of the things I used to do when I was 20 or 25.
Right.
My body just won't let me do it anymore.
Your brain wants to.
My brain wants to. My brain wants to be super active. I want to be able to go and run up a mountain if I want to, and because I want to be super active outside of the gym, outside of the house, whatever the case is. And I think that's something that COVID really brought out in me. Is kind of that outdoor, need to be outside because we were locked away for so long. And so getting out and running was something that I loathed for a long time. And then during COVID, it kind of forced me to get out there and run in different areas and discover different things. And I want to continue to do those things, but I need a training plan that suits me. And that's where Vital kind of bridges that gap. It's like, it's all about functional fitness. So we believe that we have 7 foundational movements. We have a plank, push, pull, lunge, rotate, hinge, and what am I missing? Squat. There we go. Hinge and squat. So those are our 7 foundational movements. In every class that we go through, we do 2 of those movements together. So we'll do like a squat pull day. We'll do a hinge push day. We'll do a lunge rotate day. And one of the things that I've always been interested in is boxing. Well, I'm not going to get in a ring. I don't want to get, you know what I mean? I don't want to get hit, right? Who wants to get hit?
Yeah, you're all for hitting something.
Yeah, I'm all for hitting something, but not getting hit back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have a great plan until we get hit in the face, right? Says Mike Tyson, at least, right? So I think one of those things that we wanted to kind of look at was boxing bags. I mean, a lot of gyms don't have that currently, and it was something that we were like, well, this might be pretty cool to use this as a cardio piece of our class.
Yeah.
And then rowing, is another great thing that I don't think a lot of people know enough about. And so we introduced a rowing class and a boxing class because of that. And again, engaging somebody like you or I, where you like to go out and you like to go out cycling on the weekends and even during the week. I do as well. I just went for a 25-mile ride on Sunday and beautiful. And I want to continue to do those things.
Yeah.
I want to continue to move and engage and do those things as well. And again, Vital is going to help us do that.
So take me through a typical workout.
Okay. So typical workout, 60 minutes long, like on the dot.
Okay.
One of the core beliefs that we have is that there's no rest, there's only recovery. We believe that recovery is through owning your breathing patterns, right? So in through the nose, out through the mouth, really being intentional with all those things that we're doing in class. We have 3 stations in every class. So you're always going to be doing some sort of core floor station. You're always going to be doing some sort of strength training. So we have benches that have dumbbells in them and bands. And then every class is going to have either boxing as a cardio element or rowing as a cardio element.
Okay.
We actually have 2 halves of class. And I know that sounds weird, but the first half of class is all about understanding the skill that you're going to use in the second half of class. So
Gotcha.
if, like say for instance, it's a boxing class, we're throwing 1s and 2s. Okay. You're just throwing one over and over again. Your jab, just throwing that jab over and over again, turning it over, pouring out the lemonade.
Right.
Learning how to throw that punch appropriately. The second half of class is now we're going to take that 1 and that 2 that we're throwing, that jab and that rear cross, and we're going to put it into a combo. So now we're going to take that skill set you just learned and we're going to apply it into a performance-based methodology.
Okay.
Same thing.
So the first half you're going through the motion. Second half you're actually getting a workout in, or is the first half?
Well, the first half is a workout as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So don't get that twisted. But you look at the first half of class really as kind of the warm up or the skill acquisition portion of class, and then the second half of class is really that application of that skill set.
Yeah.
Through a performance-based methodology. So that's the biggest thing for us.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. And then in the middle of class, right in the heart of the class, we stop for 2 minutes and we focus on our recovery, because we're going to be using that methodology in the second half of our class to help us recover, because we believe that only the good reps count. So there's this idea.
So don't get sloppy. Recover so you're not sloppy? Is
exactly.
That what? Okay.
Even when we get fatigued, right, we don't get sloppy. We have a saying in the class is that we train hard so we can fight easy. It's actually a special forces saying. So they go out and they train hard so that when they're actually in the fight, it's easy for them. They're good. They've got it. We also have this other thing that we really talk about a lot too, is that we don't rise to the occasion. We rise to the level of our training. And if we're training sloppily, just like, hey, we practice how we play. It's the same thing. We're practicing the beginning half of class and we're playing in the second half of class.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So we're building that into every single class. So you can come to class 3-4 days a week and not get the same workout.
Yeah.
And get results at the end, which is great.
And how many days a week would you recommend somebody doing this?
Honestly, like if you're just starting off, probably 3 days a week. If you're somebody,
that's pretty good amount. Yeah.
So if you're somebody like yourself, maybe 4. Even 5, just depending on your level of what you're looking for.
Right.
But you can mix it up between boxing and rowing. We have, different rep schemes. We have different, like on the rowing side, we have different meter counts. We have sprints that we do.
Yeah.
We do a little HIIT training on the rower. It's a lot of fun.
And it's, I'm just trying to think. As you're talking, I'm thinking about, because I just did a Spartan race.
Yep.
And different things that I do. And I just posted today about consistency over intensity.
Yep.
And there is a time to mix the intensity in.
Absolutely.
And it's just to bring it all together. It's kind of funny, when I was doing the Spartan race, you have to have endurance.
Yep.
You're going for a very long time. So you have to know how to keep your heart rate
steady.
low. Yeah.
Steady.
You don't want to spike it out.
Correct.
The obstacles will spike it for you.
Yep.
If you get through the obstacle cleanly, your heart rate's going to be spiked for a very short period of time.
And then you move on. Right.
However, you can't get that obstacle done. You have to do the 30 burpees.
Yeah.
Your heart rate spiked for a long period of time.
Right.
And then it's about the whole race. I was thinking, all right, you just did 30 burpees. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just admit, I'm going to walk for a while. I got to bring my heart rate down.
Right.
It's not because you want to walk.
You have to.
It's not that you're too tired, yes, but it's just because I just got to bring my heart rate back down so I can go run another 3/4 of a mile before the next obstacle comes.
Right.
Because you just can't stay that high. So that's perfect. So in that vital training, are you constantly going up and down with heart rate, or is it like steady state where you're peaking it for a long time? How's your heart rate work in that program?
Yeah, so the heart rate is going up and down. Very similar to what you just described. Now it depends on what station you're in, right? So the first half of class, we're going to have 3 blocks of 6-minute blocks. The second half is going to be 8-minute blocks. Okay. So within that, we have different recovery periods, 2 minutes, whatever the case is. So within that, say for instance, the first half of class, we're trying to get your heart rate up and keep it up on the rower. Yeah. Again, learning how to row, getting that rowing pattern down. Same thing with the boxing. You're going to get your heart rate up and it's going to be a consistent elevated heart rate. We're not spiking you.
Yeah.
Second half of class, we're going to spike you. You know what I'm saying? We're bringing it up, we're bringing it back down. We're bringing it up, we're bringing it back down, especially in a lot of our boxing formats.
Yeah.
We're doing ladders, we're doing speed rounds, and then we're doing recovery right afterwards. So that recovery piece is where you're training your body, to your point. If your heart rate does go to an elevated level that you just can't control and you have to walk, now you can use those breathing techniques that we trained you in to help bring that down, and then you can start running quicker instead of having to walk that extra, 5 meters or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
all that, because I'm so fresh off the race.
Yep.
This just resonate. This is just hitting hard, and it is important to figure out how to keep that breathing under control.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't recommend this if you're trying to train for a Spartan race, because we are low impact. We're actually a burpee-less class.
Yeah.
We are very intentional with understanding our target audience.
Now you're really making me want to do it.
Yeah.
No burpees? I'm in.
No burpees. No burpees. And there's no jumping. Yeah. So it's really low impact, movement patterns that we're doing, but we're increasing the intensity through load and tempo, right? We're increasing the intensity through different movement patterns throughout the exercise. So like in the first half of class, you may be doing banded shoulder presses.
Okay.
Well, in the second half of class, you may be doing that same movement now with dumbbells that go up to 20 pounds, and you're doing it nice, slow, and controlled. All of a sudden, you're going to feel that intensity creep up on you.
Right.
So, and again, we always talk about this, only the good reps count. And that's a big, big, big part of our philosophy in that class.
You just mentioned, the slower reps. The only time I've used a personal trainer was at In Shape.
Okay.
So a few years ago, he was on my podcast, Arturo.
Oh, yeah.
And he was it was perfect. I walked in one day, finally, I'm like, I'm going to get a personal trainer, somebody that can kick my butt a little bit.
Right.
I just want somebody to bring the intensity up.
Yep.
But I was the reason I never had was like, what if I don't like that personal trainer?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to have to tell them this isn't working out. I didn't want that. Finally, though, I just went up to the desk. I'm like, hey, I'd like to use a personal trainer here.
Right.
Nobody was here at the moment. And I'm walking out to my car, and I forget her name, but whoever was in charge of the training there, she ran out. She goes, hey, I'm so sorry. I was in the back or whatever. And she goes, but I've got the perfect guy for you. I'm like, excellent. So I show up. Forget if it was the next day or whatever. Yeah. And there he was, former Marine.
Oh,
I'm like, I got my guy.
Fair enough.
But to say that, he was always making me slow down my reps.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, we're not going to go as heavy, but you're going to go slow.
Time under tension is a huge concept.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I would be thrashed afterward.
Yep.
But and I try to incorporate it now, but when you have somebody there, because sometimes you think you're going slow, and then when somebody's there counting for you and checking you out, like, all right, I got this under control.
Yeah, and one of the big things that we had to define specifically with our VTL product is like, well, what's the difference between that and a group fitness class, right?
Yeah, so what is the difference?
So the biggest difference, honestly, is it's like a personal training session, but it's just in a group setting. So you're getting that coaching and that development, because the person's not up at the front of the class doing the exercises and you're following along. We have trainers that are coached to help you perform the movement to your optimization level that you need to do it with.
Okay, so are there multiple coaches in that class?
So there's just one coach, but we limit the class to 12 at the River Lakes location or 18 at the Seven Oaks location. We can get some pretty good one-on-one time with each individual within that 60 minutes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
How many In Shapes is this program at now?
Right now, we're just piloting at the 2.
At the 2.
Yeah. This is just a brand new product for us that we just launched last week.
Yeah.
So
I saw it getting set up for a while. I saw the equipment, and then you launched it. So how long is the pilot before you guys say,
to be determined?
What's the criteria to say this is going to grow or not?
I think it's the number of people that are joining the class. Right. I think we've already had a pretty good response from the members that have taken the class so far. So we're pretty optimistic about our abilities to go into other clubs, other locations, and throughout In Shape. So it's one of those things where we don't have a defined date that by this time. It's more of, hey, we're gonna really test this out, get the feedback that we need to make this a better product, and really provide something that the members want, especially within that age range.
So I was, when I posted today about consistency over intensity, I was thinking about, because it was a reel, and I'm like, what do I use as my caption? And I almost went with don't do random workouts. Find a routine, stick with it, and you'll improve. I almost went that direction with the post, but I didn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, and the reason I didn't is because I don't really know enough about that. So the reason I'm asking is, I'm so interested in wanting to do that class, but I've got my training program on my head.
Yep.
Where I'm heading on, and the routine I want to do, why it's going to work for me.
Yep.
I have my steps for me.
Right.
So I'm thinking, well, okay, I want to go do this class. So what, as a trainer, is that a smart thing? So I'm beyond having to experiment and workouts. I know what works for me and what doesn't.
Right.
So for somebody like me who's experienced, what's the right thing to do? So should I go try a new class, or should I stick with my route? As long as I'm obviously doing my routine correctly, what's the right thing?
Well, that's a great thing. It's all an experiment all the time, right?
Right?
I mean,
yes.
So it's also consistency and providing variety as well, right? And so in order to be consistent, I guess the question is what drives consistency, right? And that's continued, that internal thing that keeps motivating you, right?
Yes.
Switching things up is something that we as humans need. We need variety. We need periods of adaptation where we feel good about okay, cool. Well, I'm going to have this challenge now.
Right.
And that period of adaptation for the body is anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. So you can have a training program and you can follow it for 6 to 8 weeks. And hopefully you're motivated enough. And obviously, John, you are completely motivated enough to keep it going. But for our average member, I don't know that if they're not seeing results quickly enough, how much they're going to stick to a program. Yeah. Unless it's fun, unless it's motivating,
right?
Unless it's intentional. And that's what we were really thinking with VTL. It's okay, well, how can I inspire and have people aspire to a goal specifically for them while maintaining a fun, energetic class that's going to get them to that goal regardless of what it is. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. Because I tell people 6 weeks. If you can stick with something for 6 weeks in fitness, chances are, 1, you'll start to see results.
Yep.
And 2, the habit should be formed.
Correct.
So you have the combination. The habit's formed and the results are being seen.
Right.
As long as you've stayed with the routine.
Right.
Actually stayed with the routine for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you've got, then you do have it licked. Then you're over that initial, okay, now I can start relying on discipline.
Right.
Versus motivation all the time. Because you're not going to wake up hyped to go work out all the time.
No, especially when you're sore.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe you do, but there's days when I'm like, I don't want to go to the.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do it.
But those are the best days to go.
Yes. Because at the end, you'll be happy you did it.
Thank yourself.
But
Absolutely.
that's when the discipline kicks in.
Correct.
And so I think you answered it perfectly. It's hey, heck yeah, man. Think of things in 6 to 8 week increments or programs.
Yep.
This can fit in one of those 6 to 8 week programs.
Right.
And longer. I mean, once you get, there's always, as we talk about things like this, there's ways to talk about it for beginners versus somebody who's been in it for a while.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we want to, cater to anybody that might want to come through. I mean, John, you might be having a bad week and you're like, dude, I just want to go and just crash out and do something that I haven't done before.
Yeah.
And the boxing element probably would work for you at that point in time.
Right.
Just coming in and trying something new and switching things up has never hurt anybody. Right. I mean, if you're trying to do this and you have a goal of doing a triathlon, in 6 weeks, probably not the right training plan for you.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
But it could be used as one of those days where you're just, hey, I just want to go get a good workout in. I just need to get my heart rate up. I just need to move.
Do something a little different.
do something a little bit different. VTL is going to be that thing for you.
Yeah.
You know, or if you're like, I've got a member, for instance, and this is great story so far. He's 70 years old. Used to box back in the day a little bit and coming in, wrapping his hands. I'm like, oh, you boxed before. That's cool. He's like, yeah, I'm just having a hard time moving, you know, now that I'm 70 and having a hard time with his hips. And he's come to 4 classes. And I'll tell you what, his hips are starting to move a little bit more.
Nice.
Right?
Nice. Yeah.
And he's starting to get he's starting to last a little bit longer through the rounds. And it's these little things that you can start to pick out like as areas of success and opportunities that you can see within yourself. You're like, oh, okay. Like instead of 30 seconds, gassing out in 30 seconds, I gassed out in 45.
Yeah.
Or I made it the whole minute. Like you should be proud of yourself. Give yourself a high five. In that.
Right.
And we create intentional moments for success in VTL. So that happens every class. So you can reward yourself every class and say, pick something out of class that you did differently than the class before.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very intentional move on our part.
That's, well, in anything, weight, you know, if you want to get bigger in weight training, you know, or if you want to get more endurance, you have to track your progress.
Absolutely, you do.
In order to improve.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so to get those little measurements of success,
right?
You see that progress.
Yep.
You see him getting closer to that 6 weeks, start to see the improvements.
Right.
Start to build that habit. That's name of the game.
Name of the game. And the biggest thing for us too, you know, when we look at this is we look at VTL as kind of a gateway to the rest of the gym too, right? You're learning how to move appropriately. Again, only the good reps count. So we're really focused on the proper movement patterns, slowing people down, really focusing on those things, and then focusing on recovery. I think a lot of people forget like, oh, I need to work on breathing. You can own your position only if you can own your breathing pattern. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, for me, hell yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I know all about.
So whether you're on a bike, whether you're on a run, if you're not breathing right, you are not going to be optimizing that workout, whatever you're doing.
Oh, 100%.
So we take a lot of opportunities within the class to really talk about what that recovery looks like after every rep, after every set, after every punch, after every row, and why that's so important for your body to recover. And then we recover very intentionally after class with our foam rollers. We work out, you know, different movement patterns, which are engaging different muscles. Most people just do the basic, you know, 3-4 stretching exercises that they do, and they don't really understand like, well, you didn't even work those muscles out today. Right. And so we very intentionally stretch out the muscles that we just used within the class to teach people that, hey, listen, you know, recovery is just as big of a part of your workout routine and your fitness journey as anything else. I mean,
totally.
You know, I told you earlier about my tearing my chest in the Spartan run. Now, if I was more flexible and had more range of motion, who knows? That might not have happened. I mean, we can't go into what ifs, but I have a good hunch.
Yeah.
That if I could have better movement or range of mobility above my head, that probably wouldn't have happened. So
yeah.
So yeah.
So let's take me through different levels of the gym member. If you're a beginner, just starting off at the gym, how do you recommend incorporating Vital into a whole week's program? Like, what would you do how many days a week would you do Vital? And what would you do on the days you're not doing Vital?
So if you're brand new to the gym, never trained before, you're going to probably have more success in Vital than you would just on your own, going and pressing the little green button on the treadmill.
Gotcha.
The reason why is, again, going back to what I just talked about, is really understanding how to move appropriately. You'd be surprised, like how many people have a hard time moving their bodies just in a standing position, right? Not even like adding any load to that, right? And it's something that I myself have struggled with for years. It's like, I want to lift weights, heavy weights, right? And I want to, you know, be like the big guys in the gym, and I want to do all those things. And then I start lifting with my ego instead of lifting appropriately. And that's when bad things happen.
Yeah.
The number one thing that's going to derail you from your goal is an injury. Absolutely.
So the beginner comes in 3 days a week, 2 days a week?
I would say, you know, again, this is depending on what their body, on the person, but I would recommend probably starting off 2 days a week, coming and checking us out, and then understanding your body and your need, right? I think it's talking with the trainer, really understanding what the class is going to be about that day, understanding what your goals and objectives are of your fitness journey, right? And I think that's something a lot of people need to have a conversation with. It's not just about coming in and everybody wants to focus on, losing weight or getting bigger or whatever the case is, where we want to focus on, what do you want to do? Like, you want to go on a hike? You want to move around with your kids? Like, what are the things that you want to do fundamentally every single day? Like, I've got 2 little ones at home, and I made a change in my own fitness journey about, my daughter's going to be 11 this year. So probably about 10 years ago when she was about 1.5. And, I was probably 235, 240 at the time, just trying to gain as much weight as I could and lift as heavy as I could. And I was just destroying my body, right? Looking back on it.
Just turning into this stiff muscle.
And just, like gaining any kind of weight. It didn't matter if it was lean or fat. I just wanted to be, 240, right? And so I was having a hard time breathing and, sleep apnea and all the other side effects of having that much weight on your mass, right?
Right. Yeah.
Having that much mass on your body. But it's one of those things where, that's when I did my first Tough Mudder, and I was super inspired. I'm like, I'm going to do this. It's, 13.1 miles long. So it's a half marathon. But in that it's got 29 obstacles. So it, I guess, talked to me because I could use my strength that I had this ego about, for so many years, still while doing this endurance course, right? That was going to help me be a healthier human for my daughter at that point.
Yeah.
And so as I was going through the process, I just wasn't very smart about it. I was using the wrong shoes for training. I wasn't doing the right training programs. So my advice to any new member coming in is understand what program is going to work best for you. So John, you want to go out and do a triathlon, you want to go out and run a marathon, you want to go do another Spartan. There's certain steps that you have to take along the way in order to achieve those goals. I think a lot of people come in and they just have one thought in their mind, or they've watched a YouTube video and they go and they do whatever that person on that YouTube video is doing, not realizing that person's been training for 15 years.
Exactly.
To get to where they're at on that YouTube video.
Right.
And so those are the things that we're competing with in the gym, where people are going out and maybe not doing certain things that are healthy for them, but really educating them through not only Vital, but through our other group fitness channels on how to move appropriately, how to recover appropriately, what's going to work best for them. And so as I would encourage new members to come in, try out Vital, but also come in and talk to the trainer too, before or after class. And just kind of, talk about the things that they're wanting to do. We love talking to members about that kind of stuff. That's what fills our cup. I'll be honest with you.
Right. Yeah.
So
I appreciate seeing what you guys doing there. I'm looking off to the side and watch the trainers working with it.
Yep.
So what's your personal program? What's your workout routine for the week? Whatever the gym's throwing at me.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is that's kind of how it's been the last couple of years, you know, and I've trained so when COVID hit, obviously the gym industry was hit pretty hard. I mean, we had closures for up to 9 months, which was super tough. You know? And during that time, we had to come up with other ways to inspire our members to continue their fitness journey. We did online virtual workouts. We rolled out a new program called M7 HIT and M7 Strong that didn't use anything but body weight, so people could work out at home. Right. Because it was so hard to get weights during the pandemic. And if you could, it was super expensive.
Right.
And so within that scope of things, I also started to become a run coach for InShape. And so putting on all these different hats, it's tough, right?
Yeah.
And your body can only do so much. So what I've learned is that moderation is probably the best for me, and that's what I look at every single week. So usually a typical day for me, working out is I love my bike. So I have a stationary bike. It's actually a spin bike, and I love it. I get on that probably for 20 to 30 minutes just to get my body moving. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing. Beginning of the day, get your body moving somehow, some way.
Get flowing.
get flowing.
Yeah.
Right. And then I either do a strength workout. I'm kind of a night owl, so I do it at night before I go to bed. And I switch it up. So like typically on Monday, I'll do like a squat pull movement or a squat push movement, depending on what I want to do that week. And then I'll rotate, and then I'll go into a lunge rotate on Tuesday, and then like a hinge push on Wednesday. And then I'll probably just do cardio on Thursday, Friday, back to either a squat pull or lunge rotate movement. And then Saturday or Sunday, I like to get out of the house, whether it's a ride, on the Riverwalk Parkway or up on the east side, going up some hills. Yeah. And then, or just getting outside with the family.
Right. Nice.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
Perfect routine.
It's working for me right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on, talking about this whole program.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Before we do you have a specific workout already planned for tomorrow? What's your workout tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Thursday, so it's gonna be I had boxing today, so tomorrow I'm gonna be doing a spin bike in the morning, probably for 20 minutes, and maybe jumping on the treadmill for a good 2-mile run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
all right, well, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, John.
Nice chatting.
Cool.